with Jon Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS Playbook Show. That is right. We are here for a 6-game Wednesday main slate that starts at 7:30 Eastern time here. We have a 10 p.m. game on the slate as well. Lakers and the Clippers doing battle here. So 6 games, smaller Wednesday slate, also Wednesday slate that starts at 7:30. Really, neither of those are the norm for the NBA schedule here, but the All-Star break sort of throwing some things for a loop when it comes to their scheduling. But nonetheless, some good matchups here, some top plays, some top price guys. It should be an interesting slate overall here.
Well, starting off interesting, the Prince is actually here on time, ahead of time. So that's it. Things must still be off.
He was early, we were late. So
yeah, true. There's something going on. Something in the water. Something burning up people's mouths here. It's an interesting Wednesday slate. There is so much news that we have to that still has to come across the wire. And it's something that we're probably going to deal with moving forward. Great timing for a late swap to go away because we have 5 teams on second legs of back-to-backs. We have 2 teams on front legs of back-to-backs. So 7 of the 12 teams are on a back-to-back in some capacity today. Second half of the year, some of these teams are good, so they're, more likely to play the guys. Mm-hmm. Some teams are bad, not likely to play guys on second legs. There was legitimate injuries last night, like Anthony Edwards, Brandon Ingram, both dealt with injuries last night. So, they're both listed questionable. There's just a lot of things and a lot of uncertainties still with tonight's slate, John. So, we'll do our best to break everything down. Hopefully it remains relevant by the time 7:30 comes around because we don't have any idea what's going to happen in New Orleans. We don't have any idea what's going to happen in Minnesota. I can speculate on those things. Mm-hmm. We don't know if Ivica Zubac is going to play midday downgrade with an illness. Right. We don't know if Nesmith is going to play in Indiana. That's obviously we will. But as of this recording, we don't know if Caruso is going to play. Does that mean all but assuredly Andre Drummond's going to start today? There's a lot of questions that don't have answers for. That's what we're here for, but just, obviously the warning that a lot of stuff to still comb through on today's slate.
Yeah, a lot of stuff to comb through. Before we do get into it though, James, I want to mention on the screen right now, we have our Better Edge Pick'em contest here for today. It is a double up, so top half of those of you who enter will be winning some money here today. No deposit required if you haven't already signed up. No credit card needed. And if you confirm your account, you get $10 free. It's just $3 to play today's NBA Pick'em contest. You go to fantasyalarm.com/pick'em, sign up, register your account. They give you $10 free. You then can use those free dollars to enter today's contest here. Scan the QR code there on the screen or go to fantasyalarm.com/pick'em. I'll also go ahead and throw that here into the chat as well. So you guys can just simply click and join today's contest. Myself is in there. James is in there. We're over on Better Edge. We've been running a daily NBA Pick 6 Pick'em contest there throughout the remainder of the NBA season. So sign up today, get your $10 free and start winning some money with us here over on Better Edge.
John, my lock of the day, and I'll give this out for anyone that joins our contest, is Pacers -6 over the Pelicans. Have you heard about the Pelicans travel situation from yesterday?
I have not.
So here's a travel situation from a Pelicans sideline reporter. They board for their flight at 11 p.m., right after their game in Madison Square Garden. They're at midnight, they were informed that their plane broke. At 2:45 a.m., they had to deplane. They took off at 3:15 in the morning. They landed at Indy at 5 in the morning. So they were on a plane from 11 p.m. to 5 a.m. Multiple planes because one broke.
Yeah.
Then they had to deboard and get another one. So not only is their travel or not injury news, injury designations. There's travel, travel gate here, travel gate. And so Pacers -6 over on it. I'm not going to give away the rest of my picks in the Better Edge Pick'em contest tonight, but I will say Pacers -6 looking pretty juicy.
Yeah, for sure. So go check it out again. Running daily pick'em contests over on Better Edge. So don't miss this opportunity to get $10 free just simply by registering your account. Again, you don't need any credit card. You don't need a deposit. You just have to sign up, enter your information, confirm your account. Boom. $10 free in there for you to play in our daily pick'em contest here. So enough of the promos. Let's get to the slate. We got here 6 games as we're talking about. Game totals, looking at some of the top matchups. You already talked a little bit about the Pacers and the Pelicans. We also have on this slate here, we have the Mavericks versus the Raptors. Toronto getting 3.5. That's a 241 total. Memphis, Minnesota giving 12.5 are the Timberwolves at home. 208.5 total there. Cleveland, Chicago getting 5.5 at home. 216.5 total in that game. Kings, Nuggets giving 7.5 at home. 231.5 total. And then Lakers, Clippers closing out the night. Clippers giving 3.5. That's a 234 total.
Yeah, I think New Orleans, Indy, obviously a little bit interesting. Dallas, Toronto, probably. I mean, slate high total there. And then Lakers, Clippers. Those are like the 3 marquee matchups of the night. Not to say we're going to see some very interesting ownership on those 2 games with 208 and 216 game total, Sean, because there's a lot of people playing some players tonight that I was not necessarily expecting. So,
yeah, 100%. Guys, if you have any questions, feel free to throw them in our chat. We're happy to help you all out here today. Whether it be your DFS lineups, FanDuel, DraftKings, if you have pick'em or prop questions, go ahead and give those to us here as well. I see Tyson asking some prop questions in there. I know Coach Chris is in here talking about maybe playing Trey Murphy if everybody ends up being, or people end up being ruled out for the Pelicans. So we'll touch on those as we go through the positions here. Starting off at point guard, though, we got Luka, 12K. It is his birthday today. We had the Cleveland Slovenian narrative yesterday. He goes for 45 actual. We now have a birthday narrative in play for Luka Doncic here. Where are we with the 12K Luka Doncic on the road on a back-to-back in Toronto here this evening, James?
It's also Alex Caruso's birthday, so how dare you disrespect?
Ooh, well, we weren't on Alex Caruso yet. We were on Luka Doncic.
Yeah, but Alex Caruso's birthday is more important.
Well, we'll talk about him in 2 minutes.
I mean, again, narrative aside, you can play Luka. that's my analysis. I mean, narrative aside, he's going to play more minutes than everyone. He's going to score probably more than anyone. And it doesn't matter if Kyrie's on or off the floor, he has as high of a ceiling as anyone. I mean, he outscored the second highest player last night, Jason Tatum, by like 20 fantasy points. So, or 30 fantasy points. So if you end up on Luka, Godspeed, there's plenty of value to do so tonight. Like there is more than enough value to get to Luka.
Sure. I agree with you. Plenty of value. We know what the upside can be. Even on days where Kyrie Irving's having good performances, Luka is right there with him. Halliburton's $9,500. Again, really tough night for him the other day. But if we're looking at a depleted and or tired and or worn down Pelicans team, maybe things are looking better for the Pacers. They are, again, as you mentioned, 6-point home favorites here against New Orleans. Donovan Mitchell, $9,400. Obviously, no sweat for him last night. 31 actual, 50 fantasy points. We said $9,400 was too cheap for him then. Do you think you can still pay this against the slowest paced team in the NBA, though?
Yeah, he said no problem against them. Mitchell's always gonna get his. So I think you can play him really any place, anywhere, anytime. He's one of those elite dudes. So
Tyson saying, as a Raptors fan, we are in danger.
Tyson, I don't know about you, dude. The vibes are high. You guys had a pizza party the other day. 3 wins in a row. Like, put some respect on the Raptors' name as they head for a play-in tournament berth here.
Anything is possible here, especially the way Scotty Barnes has been playing. $9,200 for Scotty Barnes, coming off of a triple-double, a double-double, a double-double, and a double-double. Those are usually the numbers you want when you're using him in DFS here. You're getting some defense. I mean, 5 blocks, obviously not going to repeat itself, but good to know it's in his bag. He had a 3-steal game there a couple of games prior. So this is the player that we saw earlier this year when he was just filling it up. Had a little down spot. I don't know if it was just some like readjusting to the new rotations or what, but he's back to looking good. And Dallas, for as good as they are scoring the basketball, they're not really a great defensive team, and they play at a high pace. So it could be a really good spot for Scotty Barnes tonight.
Yeah, 21st in defense, 10th in pace to your point. So love Scotty Barnes tonight.
Under 9K guards, De'Aaron Fox, questionable, but $8,500. James Harden's the cover of the show, so you know where we're at with him today. He's $8,400. Jamal Murray, 78. Kobe White, nobody could shoot last night for Chicago. He's $7,300. Then D'Angelo Russell, CJ McCollum, and Emmanuel Quickley round out your 7K tier. I have Emmanuel Quickley in my Underdog Best Bets article for today. I know he's a guy that you and I have been playing a lot lately. Where do you look when it comes to this mid-tier guard position today?
I mean, Fox he went through shoot around as a full participant. So he looks like he's going to play after just bumping knees. He's been on a heater, 50 plus fantasy points in 5 straight games. So if you want to get to De'Aaron Fox, by all means do so. He's an elite play at this price. Harden, very good play. I don't love that he is as highly rostered as he is today. I'm good getting there. I'm also just kind of indifferent about the rostership. So if you want to play Harden, by all means, do so. There's no Paul George. Obviously, that's a big deal. But if you want to also get leverage on the field, someone playing like a De'Aaron Fox would make a lot of sense considering Harden's ownership. But 8,400 is a good price for Harden. Not a lot of interest in the rest of the tier. Like you can play Jamal Murray always. I like that his price is under 8K. He looks fine. Coming off that little bit of an injury before the break, but he does look fine coming out of the break. Not a lot of interest in Kobe White. The writing's on the wall. 2 for 14 against Detroit. Second leg of a back-to-back. He's going to be like 12 for 20 and hit
1% slate breaker out of Kobe White tonight, probably.
Yeah,
right?
so I'm not playing him, but I understand that 7,300 is a pretty good price for him, considering he does have a high ceiling. Not a lot of love for Russell McCollum. What I think is going to happen for the Pelicans is, so we had the Trey Murphy shout. He's also listed questionable. I'm not sure any of them play. McCollum seems the most likely maybe to play. I think this is definitely an Ingram sit spot. He hurt his ankle multiple times. Zion on a back-to-back, we know we always have to worry about. And then Murphy with the midday downgrade with an illness. Wonder if that's like having to do with travel, like as much travel as they had to go through. So we might see a really, really, really depleted Pelicans team. But if McCollum is like just the lone soldier, the lone soldier here, like for sure, interesting.
Him and Herb Jones out there, running the 2-man,
and Joe Val, just the 3-man weave. Not that
if all those guys end up being ruled out, it screams like Jordan Hawkins. Like
we're gonna get back to the Pelicans rotation is going to be.
It is at least a 7:30 start, so we'll know.
We'll know.
I like Quickley tonight, man. I again, Dallas guard defense not good. And Quickley, if he's gonna play like he has the last 3 in good spots for him, Indy, Atlanta, Brooklyn, right? Like good spots for him there. Again, I think Dallas is a good spot. We just saw Donovan Mitchell and have a really good game against them here. He's filling the stat sheet up, which is nice. The rebounds, 6 or more in 4 straight. The assists, you've seen a ceiling assist game out of him. And then the scoring's been there. So I definitely like Quickley at this 7K range. Again, he was 72 last slate. He was 69, 68. Now he's back to 7K. So fine going to Quickley. I took the over points and rebounds for him. It was 23.5. He's outscored that in points in 2 of the last 3. Never mind adding in the 6 rebounds that he's averaging. So we'll see. We'll see if that one turns out or not. Under 7K. Again, shorter slate. So depth kind of closes up on us quick here. Where are you going with value at the point guard position tonight?
So I think the value tier is obviously a little bit interesting, and it makes, right away, Jordan Goodwin at $4,000 is like the main piece that we have to talk about because he's the highest projected roster point guard of the slate. He's 29% projected on DraftKings. He's $4,000. He straight up DMP'd over the last since the break. Like
they signed him to a two-way, and then he hasn't played. So
has not played. He also hasn't been with the G League team. Like he's just been with the Grizzlies, not playing. Right?
Mm-hmm.
They haven't needed him necessarily because they've had Luke Kennard. Concher has been available. Neither of those guys are available tonight. I mean, Concher hasn't officially been ruled out, but he's listed doubtful. Luke Kennard is straight up out. When you look at the Memphis point guard situation, Derrick Rose, just guard room in general. Derrick Rose, it's Jordan Goodwin, Zaire Williams, Vince Williams, right? Mm-hmm. So I understand why the field would be getting to Jordan Goodwin because you think about how to allocate minutes to Memphis backcourt, right?
Yep.
Derrick Rose ceiling plays what? 16, 17 minutes? Like absolute ceiling for Derrick Rose at this juncture. He hasn't played he played 31 minutes December 13th and then he broke down a month later where he had to now sit out for a full month, right? So like you can't play Derrick Rose more than 16 minutes. That's 32 minutes at point guard that you need to fill, right? So I think that we're going to see Vince Williams on the ball. I think we'll see Zaire on the ball a little bit, but I don't see a scenario where Jordan Goodwin isn't playing in this game. What are you?
He was good for the two games that he played for them, right? As you mentioned, he was good, and they won during those during those two games. So, if he is, again, this is an 8 p.m. start, so we may not know before roster lock, and so if you're going to build your lineups tonight, you're going to have some, ability to maneuver if you wanted to go the Jordan Goodwin route. Because if he's not starting, then there's a legitimate chance he doesn't play.
DMP, yeah, the DMP is real. The DMP
so he's really got to almost be in the starting lineup to have any level of confidence here that the minutes are going to be there, because we've seen Vince Williams run the offense. He's had a couple of high assist games, so we know that they can certainly maneuver guys in and out. But the lack of depth, not having Gilliard there anymore, being without Kennard, being without Concher, certainly makes you think that Goodwin's going to be in the lineup here tonight. Trey Mann is someone that you and I highlighted on the show last night, right?
Shout out our boy Trey Mann. LaMelo Ball rolled out for Thursday, but
Trey Mann tomorrow, Terrence Mann tonight. Terrence Mann is someone that you and I highlighted on the show this morning. Again, 39 and 31 minutes the last couple of games here. The shot attempts in this Memphis game, I mean, listen, we would love to see him shoot this much. It really hasn't been the case, and it's hard to shoot this much when you're playing with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard and Norm Powell and James Harden and Russell Westbrook. Right. Like, you're the seventh option of six when you're in the rotation.
Zubats ain't no joke when he catches in the post either.
So we need him to be efficient, but the minutes are going to be there. There is no Paul George. They shortened their rotation up. They played Amir Coffey fewer minutes than they had previously. So at $4,400, Mann is a pretty good pivot, I think, off of some of these cheaper plays this evening.
Yeah, and even Zubats being out could help, right? Like, we know the Clippers are just kind of reluctant to run a deep rotation. So, I'm surprised to see Terrence Mann ownership coming in where it is, 25%.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna get to what Norm's is and what you and I talked about on the show last night. Like, we both understood Norm was going to be popular. I didn't expect Norm to be this popular, like 60% popular, but it is still leverage. Like, if you are not playing both, there's obvious leverage going to Terrence Mann. You just need, you don't need the Memphis Terrence Mann, because the short I put up on the fantasyalarm.com YouTube today about Norm, 25 and a half fantasy points or more in 4 straight. Like, Terrence Mann's done that in 3 straight, right?
Yeah. So what I think is going to take some ownership off of these guys is if we do get a Pelicans starting lineup,
and it's nuked. It's just nobody in it.
Yeah, and it's Jordan Hawkins starting, right?
Yes,
people are going to take the early Hawkins play and know what, because we've seen what he can do when he is the guy on this team and has to take all the shots. And they'll look at Terrence Mann here and be like, you know what? Maybe not today. And his ownership will drop and Goodwin people like, well, we don't know if Goodwin's even going to be in the lineup. I'm going to pivot and go to Hawkins here. Right. Norm probably stays the same because we know what Norm's going to play. We know what his ceiling can be. But I think those other point guards here could see their rostership dump down if we get a starting lineup that includes Jordan Hawkins in it for the Pelicans here. Thoughts on the Indiana guys? McConnell and Nembhard down here as well.
Indifferent, especially if Neesmith is back, about Nembhard because we talked about it on the show, and I know I said like there's not a way, and you were like, oh, there's a way because Rick Carlisle will move Mathurin back to the bench, but like I just find it hard to think Mathurin comes off the bench after how well he's played. But we'll see. If Nembhard's starting, I guess there's a. But like, why potentially pay $5K for him when if Goodwin's going to start?
Are you taking any tournament flyers on Westbrook? I know the minutes really just haven't been there, but
if Zubats is out,
okay.
Because also though,
you won't know until way later. But
we won't know. I also think the Clippers are probably more reluctant to go small, knowing Paul George is out, right? Like
because then you're forced into Plumlee Tice.
Yeah, and then you're forced into Plumlee Tice, right?
So
So
against Anthony Davis, who's one of my favorite plays on the slate. Right. So. All right, let's go to shooting guard here. We just got the let him know tweet. So Donnie Mitch, not that we were wondering, but he is in fact playing here tonight. $9,400. Kyrie Irving, 93. Anthony Edwards, questionable at 89. He left that game yesterday, came back, scored a bajillion points.
Yep.
But he's got the ankle soreness. It's Memphis. There's certainly plenty of reasons for Minnesota to not play him here tonight. So I guess we'll see whether or not he is in or out of the lineup here. Same thing with Ingram. We'll see if Ingram's in or out because those two guys in good spots. Once you get down into the mid-tier, though, we do have RJ Barrett. We got Vince Williams. We got Ben Mathurin. Malik Monk's at $5,600. So certainly some guys who've been used to playing lately in this mid-tier.
The Edwards injury just sparked something. Point guard.
NAW?
No, at point guard, Monty Morris played 27 minutes yesterday.
Okay.
He is $3,300. Monty Morris is like not a bad basketball player.
No.
He was hurt the entire year, didn't play at all, came back for Detroit, and then got traded immediately. Like he was
more than serviceable during his 76ers years. So
dude, he had really good years in Denver. Mm-hmm. He had good years in
Philadelphia,
Philly, and he had good years in who was he just on? Monty Morris. Monty Morris. I don't
even remember what his last team was.
I'm mad when
was it Washington? Washington, Minnesota, Detroit, Washington. But he only played 6 games for Detroit this year, I guess. So
before he got traded because he was hurt. I mean, January 24th.
He played last year for Washington. So he was never on the 76ers. Who am I thinking of? I thought he was on the 76ers. He went from Denver to Washington.
Yeah, Denver, Washington. Yeah, the Denver days. I was a big fan of Monty Morris in his Denver tenure.
Well, now I'm aggravated. What was the backup point guard that was on Philly? That was always pretty good. No, I can't remember the name of. That's annoying. It'll come to me throughout the show.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, I'm sure. Mike.
It wasn't McConnell. It was like after McConnell they had a guard. But anyways, I digress. All right. So Monty Morris is certainly a good play. I agree.
27 minutes, and to be fair, Mike Conley 54 maybe something to look at. Now he only played 20 minutes on the front end of back-to-back. That obviously is not a bad thing for Conley. But if there's no Edwards, 5,400, and obviously if Edwards plays, I'm good getting there. I know Towns is back, but 8,900 is still too cheap. He's been going for 45 plus every slate. So
it was Shake Milton, by the way,
who is now on the Detroit Pistons. Full circle. Traded for Monty Morris.
Was he? Okay, well there you go. I knew there was a guard off their bench that was pretty good. Shake Milton was the name that I was thinking of there.
That was such a full circle moment for you right now. Like trading for Monty Morris when you thought it was Monty Morris, but it was actually Shake Milton.
Shake Milton, right. Yes, NAW definitely a play. We talk about this all the time. If anybody basically is out for Minnesota and NAW is starting, we like NAW. If Edwards is out, though, we saw this early this year. The usage rates, they move around. They could have no Towns again. I mean,
no, Towns is available.
Is he in? Okay.
He's available. Yeah. Right. Gobert questionable. Anderson out, and Towns is available.
All right, well, there you go. Definitely NAW, someone that we can take a peek at. 4K on this slate, another 4K guy that could have some value on this one for sure. Back to the mid tier though. RJ Barrett, Vince Williams, Ben Matherin, all plays that we're happy with tonight.
Yeah, I would say Matherin, if starting with no Neesmith, would take the cake, but because I mean, maybe he sees Herb, but I have to assume Herb's guarding Tyrese Haliburton tonight.
Yeah, I would imagine that'd be the case, just given the way we've talked about what Herb generally does defensively here. So another big night, hopefully, for Matherin, especially those other guys are out of their lineup here. Just some overall better matchups. RJ, again, consistent production really out of him this season. 24 actual, 23 actual in 2 of the last 3 games here. Hasn't, they haven't had that matchup against Detroit, but overall been pretty good for them. Anybody else down here in the value play? You mentioned Caruso with his being a birthday day here. Do you even like anybody in Chicago against Cleveland? I know we're going to talk some double bigs here in a little bit, but
yeah, there is one. There's one singular play that I like. We will get to it. I agree, Book. Listen, Naz Reid to the moon. That's how I feel.
We play a lot of Naz Reid when guys are out. He's a high usage rate player for sure. Especially if Gobert ends up being out and Edwards becomes being out, like he's just going to get a lot of minutes there. And then the chalk monster down here is Norm, 4,800. We talked about this one already. Going to play a lot of minutes. He's a great scorer. He just doesn't really give you a ton of anything else. So if he's going to score 20 actual, that's great because he's going to give you a little of something. He'll pay off the 4,800, but he doesn't have like the 50 fantasy point ceiling unless he's dropping 35 on you pretty much. So good spot from there. Jordan Hawkins, we talked about. Zaire Williams, any interest in locking him in tonight?
He's okay. I mean, we saw like the ceiling in minutes, and we've seen that he's like kind of middling 20s. That probably could have been higher if not a blowout. So yeah, he's fine. I do think there's a few more interesting plays. KCP 42, he's getting some ownership. I think this is a little disrespectful for KCP. He was dealing with injuries, so like 6 and 4 fantasy points, right? Yeah, that essentially lowered his price $300. Came back with like pretty good performances. If you get that at 4,200 and 35 minutes, we know that he's a good shooter. So
needs the shots basically.
Need the shots, and then I think there's obviously some more appeal to some New Orleans guys. My boy Matt Ryan would be in play. $3,300. He actually took all the second half Jordan Hawkins minutes yesterday, John. They played Jordan Hawkins in the first half yesterday. Did not play him a single minute in the second half. Matt Ryan played those minutes. So.
I was looking for the Matt Ryan legacy game. It was right here. 35 minutes against Detroit, 7 of 10, 6 of 8, had 20 actual in that game. Followed it up a short time afterwards, 17 actual there. You said what? He's from your town?
Yes, yeah. So his sister and I went to high school together.
There you go.
And then he went to, because he was my high school, not very known for our athletic department. He went to a private school, then went off to. So yeah, he's from my hometown. My dad, our fathers used to work together as well.
There you go. Little hometown sharing for there. Anybody else at shooting guard for you?
No.
Okay. Small forward position here. So again, we've talked Scotty Barnes at point guard. I mean, dude, we talked if LeBron James is going to play tonight, way too cheap.
Yes.
Way too cheap if he's going to play, averaging 57 fantasy points in 2 games against the Clippers this year. Obviously coming off of 62 and 54. He's 9,100. You only need 45, 46 fantasy points for 5X here tonight. And we know he has a higher ceiling than that. So if we get news ahead that LeBron James is in play, plug LeBron James in and leave yourself a little bit of cash to pivot up to Anthony Davis while you still have late swap in your life, because you can make that move, or you can just pivot down to Kawhi Leonard, who's $8,700 if there's no LeBron James, to make that move as well. So you and I kind of talked about it this morning. We're plugging in LeBron James and just allowing ourselves the movability to get to where we need to go if he ends up being ruled out.
So I told you I think it's a fake tag. Like, I know he's dealing with the injury, but like, I think they play, is it Washington tomorrow? Mm-hmm. Like, they need to win, right? Like the Western Conference is too good.
Yeah, they're the 10 seed right now, I think, right?
Yes, they play Washington at home. They
Okay.
are the 10 seed.
Yeah.
Obviously they are 4 games ahead of Utah. So like we're not worried about them, but like dude, what if Utah goes on a run? Like or what if like you don't want to be the 10
No.
seed in the play
Yeah.
in. So
Right. You want to clear yourself into the 7 or 8 spot, not the lower seeds.
and also like to be fair, they're only 3.5 games out of non-play like the top 6 seed,
Sure.
right? So all these games matter tremendously.
But if you want to avoid the Timberwolves, the Thunder, like you got to start winning some games.
Well, I honestly, there feels like there's you ain't avoiding nobody in the West. Like you're
at
just
at least for the first few rounds, right?
sure. I think LeBron plays. I'm not necessarily too worried about it. I do like the idea though. Like if you are comfortable pivoting to Kawhi, it's a good spot. So, I doubt LeBron would be like, yeah, let me rest against the Clippers and then play against the Wizards. Right. Or like that would feel a little off. I'm good with getting to Kawhi personally. We just had a comment from our boy Coach Chris. Ant is a dog. If there was ever a spot Anthony Edwards were to sit, it would be this one. 202 to like second leg of a back-to-back in a game where I can't believe he came back in that game. It looked bad. Right. Non-contact injury, looked bad, helped off the court, came back.
I feel like this isn't the first time this year he's done that, where he's left an injury, came back and nuked.
Yeah. So I think I'm like very on the fence about him playing, but he is like one of those dudes who want to play like every game.
Yeah.
So,
it's just not a matchup he needs to risk it for.
No, it's
Memphis,
not.
So.
It's not.
But agreed. Quiet 87, no Paul George. Great spot for him. Ingram again, if he's in, we like him. Siakam at 8K, if everybody's out. I mean, you talk about who draws the Herb Jones defense. If Halliburton's getting that, then Siakam's sitting here with a much easier matchup. Najee Marshall, like what could be, if there's no Zion, is that the spot for him here tonight? I mean, Larry Nance playing power forward tonight. I mean, I don't know. It feels like a good spot for Siakam here.
Dude, we're gonna get we're gonna get Jerome Robinson Earl. We're gonna get Matt Ryan, Herb Jones, Jordan Hawkins, Sebron. Like it's gonna be
or we get everybody ruled in and we're just like, oh, never mind.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh well, we like the New Orleans side then because Indiana's defense is bad.
Take the Pelicans +6.
Yeah, I mean, still they still did have that whole travel situation happen where
well, you know what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for everybody to get ruled out and the Pelicans to go up like 14-3 on Indy, and then I live bet the other side.
True, that's fair. So. Yeah, I'm okay with Ingram and Siakam both if Ingram plays and Siakam if none of the Pelicans play.
Sure. DDR $7,600. Again, I assume we're just fading all Chicago here until we get to the bigs, and then maybe even it's really one player we're talking about, not necessarily both. Herbie seems not even on the injury report, so a guy we generally like anyways. Minutes should be locked in for him. Could have a scoring ceiling tonight, which is what we always are talking about. I was so tempted. His blocks and steals prop tonight combined was 1.5, and I was like, dude, kind of wanna go there. He's only averaging 1.3 steals per game, and he's averaging less than a block per game, right? So like that's kind of where I think that number comes into play.
I mean, the math.
We've seen some crazy high steal games from him, and if he has to play 40 minutes, I don't know. This could be.
Halliburton doesn't turn the ball.
No, he doesn't. He had the record, right? Consecutive games for a turnover. So
yeah. I think he had in one of those 20 assist games, he had 0 turnovers.
Yeah, so that's the thing there. So, but I looked at the number and I almost clicked the button, but I resisted. But I still like the 5,900 price tag for him there. Hachimura 53. If guys are in, would you still consider him, or do they have to be out?
They would have to be out of 53. A little different. They're pretty healthy outside of Vanderbilt, really. So I think like with Reddish being in the equation again, possibly with Prince being there, Dinwiddie's obviously playing 20-something minutes a night. Like if Hachimura doesn't come out guns blazing like he has a few times, I think we could be in some deep water at 5,300.
Okay. Anybody else down here for some value small forward plays? Again, a lot of these guys have dual positional eligibility, so we have discussed most of them, but anyone that we haven't yet talked about, we had a comment on Jake LaRavia earlier from Guy Coach Chris here. We talked a little bit about him. We then popcorn machined and saw that he played the final 17 minutes of that game. But if everybody's out, I mean, he's got to get some run here. He got some early run, and then he got all the late run.
I mean, what are the chances that neither Rose or Goodwin starts and they go like Vince Williams, Zaire Williams, LaRavia, Aldama, Jaren Jackson?
I mean, honestly, I have no idea what Memphis does anymore. Yeah, I was actually a little bit excited when we got the report that like Desmond Bane was like 3 weeks away. It's like, oh, finally, a guy we could maybe bank on here.
Yeah, him and Smart both.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, listen, I don't know. It's possible. I think that there's merit to potentially getting to him if given the fact that if Conchar and Kennard and all those guys aren't going to play, like they just need the depth.
Yeah.
You know, and if they get blown out, as we said last on the show this morning, he plays. So there's no risk of him sitting in a blowout. He just actually gets all the minutes. So I'm fine going here as a punt play at $3,600. Was there anybody else for you though?
No, I think that what you just said is a good point. Like whether or not we really think like his role is 27 minutes or not, because we saw it was 10 minutes in the first half, right? Mm-hmm. So pacing to play 20 minutes, which is fine at 3,600. If he's being productive, but
yeah,
it's the fact. I mean, this game is a 12.5 point spread. If
that game was competitive, he was playing like the end of the third quarter and then like the first 3 minutes of the fourth, subbing out, and like starters go back in. Game was a blowout. Starters didn't have to go back in. He just played it out, right? So
now, how competitive? If let's play this scenario out. Kyle Anderson's the only guy out for Minnesota tonight.
Sure.
Gobert in, Edwards in.
I mean, listen, we talk about this all the time in games where we think the teams have no chance.
It's very hard to. I know it's so hard.
Blowing teams out, and then they do. I mean, yeah, I would imagine Minnesota runs. Now, if there's no Gobert, no Edwards, and no Anderson, I mean, Towns still hung 60, granted in a loss to the Hornets, but NAW and Towns and Naz Reid, like they have guys that can score. You mentioned Shake Milton already, like. I would imagine that they're better. Book in here saying the Grizz are a coin toss most nights. I agree.
They sure are.
I mean, listen, we talked about this the last time Memphis played Minnesota, right? Like, Jaren Jackson Jr. didn't miss a shot pretty much in that game. They still lost, but they covered the spread. It was relatively competitive. And they almost had the same team, right? Like, they didn't have Bane and all those guys during that game. So, I'm just skeptical here. Power forward position. Again, a lot of guys we've discussed. Zion is 83. If he's in, we're in. Unfortunate that he fouled out before he could get his over 5.5 assists for you and I, because he had 3 in the first quarter and we're like, oh, we're locked. Then he had 1 the rest of the game and fouled out in 29 minutes. So disappointing. Towns, though, has to be maybe one of our favorite plays of the slate here, right? Like,
yep. I mean, that's I would say,
assuming Edwards is out, I have to imagine.
And I mean, I think the likely scenario is Gobert plays because the ankle looked completely fine, but he is listed on the injury report again, obviously. If Gobert and Edwards sit, Towns is going to be like the highest roster play this late.
I agree.
They're both questionable, and Anderson's out. I mean,
and the price is really good.
And the price is really good, and I mean, Towns and Naz Reid would both be like 90% rostered in like single entry in cash games.
Where do you go under 8K? Is Jaren Jackson Jr. someone you would play tonight?
No, not and unless maybe if Gobert was ruled out, because that does put Towns at center, and we know Towns is obviously not the defender that Rudy Gobert is. So if Rudy Gobert is ruled out, I'm okay getting to Jackson. I don't have much interest. We've talked about Keegan Murray extensively on this show about how bad he's been on the road. So if you're chasing Keegan Murray, beware. This is in Denver. He is shooting so much worse on the road. 44% 3-point shooter at home, 29% 3-point shooter on the road. More attempts too, like more games, more volume, like 42% overall on the road, 50% at home. So, GG Jackson would be someone if you're playing blowout narrative. They've basically come out and said they want to keep him playing off the bench because that staggers him and Jaren Jackson. So they want to get him as many shot attempts as possible. So if you think that this isn't a game that he won't go 1 of 13 in, then GG Jackson's fine. If you, again, blowout narrative, Lamar Stevens, ex-Boston Celtic great. He's been so good in this since this trade happened.
Yeah.
He's just like he's gonna operate as the backup center essentially because they axed Trey Jemison out of the rotation, but he's not gonna play enough unless there's a blowout. For me personally, over 4K, and then if Zion and stuff sits, like Najee Marshall is obvious.
Any Jalen Smith interest? No, not on the injury report here.
Yeah, I'd say like pretty mild. I mean, he's clearly right now ahead of Isaiah Jackson. That's been the case for quite a while. Now it's Rick Carlisle. That could always change, and from slate to slate, we'll see. Najee Marshall played 20 minutes last night, which I found interesting. In a game that the Pelicans had,
well, he probably got all the Zion run.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like Zion played 29 minutes, right? So they were they overlapped. There was overlap there too. I know Ingram obviously left yesterday with ankle. He was in the locker room at the end of the first quarter and stuff. So Najee Marshall always popular when guys are out 3,400.
Okay. And then the center position here, Nikola Jokic, Domantas Sabonis, Anthony Davis, your top 3. Again, I really like Anthony Davis here, especially when he's under 10K. I'm just always partial to getting him at that price point. Nothing against Joker or Sabonis here. They both can go for triple doubles and break the slates, but you're getting such a discount on a guy that's also shown a 70 fantasy point ceiling. He's giving you 50 and 60 fantasy points lately. No reason to think that price isn't going to be able to be paid off. And then if LeBron sits, like obviously it's even greater here. 3 games against the Clippers, he's averaging almost 50 fantasy points against them, 25 and 10. So more than happy to get to any of those 3, but just for savings wise, you get a little discount on AD here.
Yeah, I have a little different opinion. Like obviously the 9,800 is a good price tag. I'd like it much better if Zubats didn't play. Zubats has been really, really good defensively this year.
Sure.
So I'm not saying that's going to matter all that much. But,
usually doesn't. Not against a guy like Anthony Davis.
I just, I don't think he has as consistent of a ceiling as Jokic, at least currently. With the way
but that's why he's 9,800 versus 12,300.
No, 11,700. Yeah, 11,700. For lower ownership, I'd still rank Jokic ahead of Davis.
Sure.
I think there's not much that Sabonis and Sacramento can do against Jokic in current form. Jokic is better than anyone probably going right now. He had 20. He's averaged like over 25 potential assists per game during these last 3. Which, it's not bad.
For sure not. And they're home where he's obviously, this year, actually he's been a little worse this year scoring wise. Generally, he had been better at home, playing a little worse at home this season, but overall fine. We did skip through Agbaji. I know he got some minutes here the other day. I don't know. Not a guy I'm like looking to go to, but do you have any interest in Agbaji as a value for Toronto here?
No. Like he's been fine the last couple games.
Yeah.
But he's playing the same role he did in Utah with a few more shot attempts. If he makes his shots, he's fine. He's been better peripherally than he ever was in Utah. I just don't trust that to be something that like on a slate where there is enough value. I don't feel like you need to get Ochai Agbaji, but if you want to be different, that's definitely a way.
I agree. Where else are we going when we get to the mid-tier center? Again, it's a short slate, so the position and playable guys kind of drop off here a little bit. Do you have any interest in Vucevic, Jared Allen, Turner, Valanciunas? Like, what are your thoughts in this mid-range?
Jakob Poeltl in, by the way, as well. IC3, we just talked about Lamar Stevens, so just rewind a little bit. And in blowouts, we like him. I don't have much because that means we're not playing Andre Drummond at 5,200. So we talked about it on the show last night, and Andre Drummond's getting a ton of ownership, and I understand it. We've seen scenarios, teams such as Cleveland and Milwaukee face double bigs a lot because they just run such a big rotation. We saw it the game before the break. The Bulls went double big. They went with Drummond in the starting lineup. He played 28 minutes, and he had a double-double. And last night, against a Pistons team that went double big, right? Isaiah Stewart, Jalen Duren in the front court. He played Andre Drummond 28 minutes. He had a 20-point double-double. Like, it just – also, salute to Andre Drummond making all his free throws lately.
Yeah, sure.
Not a lot, but, like, Andre Drummond's like a 40% free throw shooter of all time.
The last 10 days, he's shooting 89%. On the year, though, still 50%.
No, this is like not a sustainable rate, but salute to Andre Drummond for at least four.
Yeah, Brendan on the same page with us. He thinks Drummond starts tonight. I agree.
I mean, what do they do? And if Caruso doesn't play, then what do they do? They are starting him. I believe Drummond starts regardless if Caruso's active or not.
And you pointed out, like, we already have the game script for this. He played 28 minutes against them. So
yeah. So I think it's just one of those chalk things that you eat and you move on. He's 44% because, like, in the worst case scenario, right? $5,200 worst case scenario, he plays 14 to 17 minutes and has one of those Andre Drummond games where he has like 10 rebounds,
something like that,
and like a block and a steal, and you're like, all right, 5,200, he gets there. So 5,200 is too cheap for Andre Drummond if he's going to play 28 or get anywhere close to 28 minutes.
Agreed. You have Naz Reid just above him, obviously 5,500. Olynyk here, but obviously with Pirtle back, maybe Pirtle limited, who knows? But $4,900 for him. Anybody else for you at center?
I mean, obviously the Naz Reid status contingent on Gobert, but he would start for sure because there's no Kyle Anderson to start, so they would start Naz Reid in this spot, even though they like. Maybe I shouldn't say that. They love bringing Naz Reid off the bench, but it doesn't matter. 32 minutes yesterday. Nah, that's it.
Okay. Building our lineups here. Got Drummond plugged in already.
Normington.
Norm, yeah. Powell. LeBron.
Yeah, I want to play LeBron. He's only 13% projected too, and I told you I hard pressed to think he doesn't play tonight. But I like 13%. Play LeBron in Utah though, for sure.
So picky.
Utah, I mean, you have to.
LeBron James. All right, small forward. We got 6,100. We like Mathurin here. Assuming the lineup comes out and he's starting, obviously. There's not the change if we don't. Power forward. You got a power forward you like tonight?
Towns. LeBron. Kawhi. Naz Reid.
They're all there. I agree. They're all there. We'll go.
Power forward is probably the worst position on the board if you're not spending.
We'll double tap man for now, and then we'll make some pivots if we can. Because at the very least, the minutes are going to be there, and if Hawkins or Goodwin get announced as starter, then we can just make some moves on that one. Guard 61.
What is your take on Jordan Goodwin?
Again, I don't know if he plays, and if Goodwin plays, I'd just sub him out for man.
Yeah. Guard 61.
I mean,
maybe go Laravia at forward and then see what we can get at the guard spot because we'll have a lot of money. Whatever we want, really.
86. Does that get us
Harden?
It does.
Yeah,
okay. There you go. And obviously, again, we said if man is out, actually that leaves us perfect amount of money to get to Hawkins if it's there too. So that works. If Hawkins starts, I'd play Hawkins over man. Otherwise, I'd play man. If Goodwin starts, would you play man or Goodwin?
Goodwin.
Okay. Sample lineup for everybody here. Man, Powell, Mathurin, Towns, Drummond, Harden, Laravia, and LeBron James here. Thoughts on Lively with no Kleba tonight for Brendan?
Kleba's been operating as a power forward, so it's not much of a bump. He's still splitting time with Gafford. Yep. It's It's a
Gafford getting
center.
iced, huh? Jesus, just 7 minutes
Yeah.
in Cleveland.
Yeah, they like Kleba did play some center. Gafford played a little bit. Lively's minutes have obviously ticked upwards. If you want to play him, that's fine. 4,400. We know
Neesmith
how much.
out. There you go.
Well,
There's
there
your
you go. Yeah.
Matherin.
Yep. So Matherin will definitely be starting once again.
Yep. All right. Example lineup for everybody again. We'll be back tomorrow. Live show 5. I just closed myself out there. Pre-show on be released tomorrow. Let's work this out. There we go. For everybody here tonight. Get back here. Subscribe and like the channel if you haven't done so already. We certainly appreciate all the support here. Really happy to have you in there with us as well. We'll have a big day. Don't worry about it. We're coming back. We're bouncing back. And then again, guys, just one last time. If you haven't already joined our Pick'em contest over on Better Edge, go to fantasyalarm.com/pick'em or scan the QR code here on the screen. If you haven't already registered, you simply register and confirm your account. No credit card or deposit needed, and they'll give you $10 free. Tonight's contest is just $3. It's a double up, so top 50% of the field doubles up their money here tonight. So come join us. We're going to be doing daily contests over on Better Edge, so this isn't going away. We're going to talk about it each and every show until you guys sign up and join and play with us. So go to fantasyalarm.com/pick'em, sign up, register your account, get $10 free, and come play some NBA Pick 6 Pick'em with us here this evening. Final thoughts here, James?
My final thoughts are tonight is your night, Coach Chris. Top 10 is in your cards tonight, brother. We'll see you tomorrow with that. You know what? With the screenshot, I feel a screenshot coming from Coach Chris.
I love it. All right, everybody. Good luck tonight. We'll catch you later.